Okay, moving on to item 3, clerk's report. Oath of office. Mr. Bowman will administer the oath of office to Mr. Hyde and Mrs. Conn. Yeah, I think, I think in general, I would like there. How would you like to, for photos and stuff, would you like to, in the front? I think in the front. Right?
Yeah.
You can go over.
Oh, yeah. We're flexible over here. If I can have windows.
All right. I need you to raise your right hand and then just repeat after me. I, Lori Cotney,
I, Lori Cox,
have been duly elected to the office of school board member for the Mosquito Norway District,
have been duly elected to the office of school board for the Mosquito Norway School District,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but have not yet entered on the duties thereof,
swear or affirm
swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
I, Brett Hyde,
I, Brett Hyde,
have been duly elected to the office of school board member for the Mosquito Norway School District,
have been duly elected to the office of Mosquito Norway School District,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof.
swear or affirm
Swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and faithfully discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my abilities, so help me God. Great, thank you, Mrs. Conley, Mr. Hyde, and Mr. Bowman. Delivering you. Moving on, item 4, consent agenda. Motion is in order to approve the consent agenda and growth.
Second.
Any discussion or individual item a board member wishes to remove for individual consideration? Once? Twice? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda in gross, state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Thank you. Student representation, item 5, student report. Final period.
At our high school, May 3rd, 2022 was National Educators Rising Signing Day, the day students across the nation celebrated their passion for teaching and learning. The following Educators Rising students are committed to pursuing a degree in the field of education: Cayman Alatalo, Abby Brown, Carly Bulow, Amanda Eckel, Sophia Giolanza, Abby Hasforth, Cassidy Hine, Amanda Matchett, Sophie McNally, Kennedy Smoke, and Olivia Tidwell. SEPA Conference, outstanding paper with special commendation, Isabella Moeller, poster with special commendation, Kennedy Smoke, Ali Obarski, and Emma Rose. A congratulations to our varsity girls track, who took first in their pre-prom Wisconsin Lutheran girls only track meet. Last 2 weeks ago Wednesday, was the final jazz concert of the year on May 4th, and the final band concert was last week, Wednesday, on May 11th. We recognized a few seniors, including Jacob Mansky for the Woody Herman Jazz Award, Will Brzezicki for the Louis Armstrong Jazz Award, Mrs. Jenny Brzezicki for the Judy Wright Volunteer Award, Sierra Coleman for the Patrick Gilmore Band Award, Evan Antritz for the Civic Music Association Band Award, Amelia Milton for the John Philip Sousa Band Award, and Nicholas Waldock for the Comprehensive Musician Award for both band and choir. The final choir concert of the year will be held on Wednesday, June 1st at 7 p.m. in the PAC. Our drama club wowed the audiences with their talents in the entertaining presentation of Romeo and Juliet. Business National Honor Society has been working hard cleaning up parks throughout our community. Members of our Key Club have been doing yard work to support some of our senior citizens. Going on to our sporting events of the week. Today, boys golf, softball, girls soccer, boys and girls track all had events. Girls track were the only ones at home. Tuesday, boys golf, varsity has their invitational. Baseball, softball, girls soccer, and lacrosse all have events. JV and varsity baseball, JV red softball, and lacrosse will all be at home. On Wednesday, boys golf, boys tennis, softball, baseball, girls soccer, and JV lacrosse all have events. Most of the softball teams and girls soccer are at home. On Thursday, boys golf, boys tennis, baseball, softball, boys and girls track all have events. Baseball and softball are at home. On Friday, there's baseball, girls soccer, and lacrosse. Unfortunately, none are at home. And on Saturday, baseball and softball have games, but also none are at home. Going on to middle school at Muskego Lake, they have a student dance last Friday, May 13th. They have a band concert on May 19th at 7 p.m. They have a Best Buddies Friendship Walk Saturday, May 21st. A choir concert at the MHS PAC, May 24th at 7 p.m. 8th grade promotion ceremony is at June 8th at 6 p.m. At Lake Danoon, on May 6th, they hosted a Junior Warrior Bingo Bonanza, where there was regular bingo, music bingo, and raffle prizes for all students 5th through 8th grade from both Lake Danoon and Muskego Lakes. Tuesday, May 24th, Lake Danoon will be hosting a 5th grade orientation night. The event will run from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. At our elementary schools, Bay Lane has a Reading Spirit Week throughout this week. They also have Spring Sing on June 2nd at our Impro Field. On June 3rd, they have a field day. There's a 4th grade celebration June 1st from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. at our MHS Impro Stadium. And afterwards, the students are returning to Bay Lane, where they will be enjoying a special outdoor lunch. A special shout out to Mrs. Buckner. Mrs. Buckner serves as a permanent guest teacher substitute at Bay Lane. She was recently recognized for her incredible contributions to our community. At Lakeview, 3rd and 4th grade students recently completed the Wisconsin Ford exam. May 6th, they had a Muffins with Mom event, and on June 3rd, they will be having a Donuts with Dad event. On June 3rd, they're also having a field day and all-school picnic. Field day for kindergarten and 1st grade from 9:30 to 10:30. Field day for 2nd through 4th is from 11 to 12. And their all-school picnic is from 12 to 1:15. At Mill Valley, 2 weeks ago, Mill Valley celebrated their staff each and every day in the week with a baseball-themed event for Staff Appreciation Week. Monday was a tailgate party. Tuesday was Breakfast of Champions. Wednesday was 7th inning stretch with a snack bar and ice cream treats. Thursday was not your average game, and they had a nacho bar. And on Friday, it was VIP lunch from Maggiano's. Before you know it, they'll be planting their gardens. Last year, Mill Valley's gardens yielded over 900 pounds of vegetables that they donated to the Muskego Food Pantry. And this year, they're in need of a lot of topsoil, seeds, and plants. And if you are interested in contributing to their community garden, there's a link to sign up on their most recent newsletter. So,
Thank you, Alana. Any questions for Alana?
yeah. Next one, I introduce the new rep.
Unless you want to actually, you'll be here right after graduation.
Thank you so much for the course. That's great.
It's been a great year. You've been very good. So thank you, Alana.
I feel like I need your autograph because you have really famous movie.
Oh, yeah.
Promo. Throw them in.
Okay, moving on. Thank you again, Alana. Moving on, item 6, Superintendent's report. Dr. Thompson.
All right, we get to recognize lots of people today, and we're going to actually start with the Cole Fellowship Award. So if you are a Cole Fellow, you could come on up. make your way through the amazing people. Lola and Savannah.
I'm gonna read one, and then I'll go through the names. Certificate of Appreciation. Muskego Norway School Board congratulates Muskego High School student Savannah Santos on being named a 2022 Excellent Scholar by the Herb Cole Educational Foundation. To be considered for this prestigious award, students must have demonstrated excellence in the academic arena and high motivation to achieve, have displayed a broad range of activity and leadership outside the academic settings, and have shown strong promise for succeeding in college and beyond. The Muskego Norway School Board hereby commends Savannah Santos for her exceptional academic and leadership qualities that has brought honor to herself, her family, and the Muskego Norway schools and community. The school board wishes Savannah Santos success in her future endeavors as signed by the officers of the school board. Certificate of Appreciation from the Muskego Norway School Board congratulates Muskego High School student Lola, Langlois O'Brien, got it. Lola Langlois O'Brien on being named a 2022 Student Initiative Scholar by the Herb Cole Educational Foundation. Congratulations. Certificate of Appreciation. The Muskego Norway School Board congratulates Lakeview Elementary School Principal Laura Shannon on being selected by the Herb Cole Educational Foundation as the 2022 Herb Cole Educational Foundation Principal Leader. And Certificate of Appreciation. Muskego Norway School Board congratulates Muskego High School teacher Brian Hertz on being named by the Herb Cole Educational Foundation as the 2022 recipient of the Herb Cole Teacher Fellowship Award. Congratulations.
Do you want to step forward just a little bit? Forward a little bit. Anybody else? Good. All right, next we are recognizing Wisconsin Council Administrators of Special Services. So we need Robin and Patty. Oh, okay, okay. All right, Patty. And Jen. Awesome. I'm sorry. It's just.
That's okay. There. Certificate of Appreciation. Muskego Norway School Board congratulates Rachel and Trisha Nepsok on being named by the Wisconsin Council of Administrators of Special Services as the Region 1 recipient for its Integration Team of the Year Award. WCASS is a professional organization comprised of over 350 members who administer and support special education and pupil services programs throughout the state of Wisconsin. Patty Nepshaw was identified for her extensive leadership, in recognition of an exemplary contribution on behalf of students with special needs. The Muskego Norway School Board commends Patty Nepshaw for providing continuity for student learning that brings honor not only to herself and family, but to the Muskego Norway School District and community. Her contributions to our students' social, emotional, and mental health ensure our students continue learning, growing, and succeeding. Signed by the officers of the school board. Congratulations. Certificate of Appreciation. The Muskego Norway School Board congratulates Jennifer Lawson on being named by the Wisconsin Council of Administrators of Special Services as a Region 1 recipient of the Peaceful Services Personnel of the Year Award. Congratulations.
Oh, sorry. You're good looking. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. FBLA is up, so if you're a member of the FBLA team, come on up.
And then just the blue. So,
We have more certificates than we have.
so I'm gonna read through one, okay, and then I'll read the names and the achievement. Okay, all right. So, is Isaac Terrence here? Christian John. All right, Certificate of Appreciation. The Muskego Norway School Board presents the certificate of grateful recognition of Christian Johnson for his contribution to the Muskego High School FBLA team, finishing in second place at the state leadership competition. Christian competed in the virtual business management and coding and programming categories. The Wisconsin FBLA and FBLA PDL Awards program recognizes and rewards excellence in a broad range of business and career-related fields. The Muskego Norway School Board commends Christian Johnson for his showcasing of knowledge, skills, and habits in a wide range of business environments, which has brought honor to himself, his family, the Muskego Norway schools, and community. The Muskego Norway School Board wishes Christian Johnson success in his future endeavors, presented by the board, signed by the officers. Congratulations. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this. So Preston Green, Preston competed in the word processing category. Mason Laner. Mason competed in the mobile app development and economics categories. Bennett Plum. Bennett competed in the networking infrastructure category. Lily Varela. Lily competed in the American Enterprise Project category. And here we have Alavia Prasad. Alavia competed in the local chapter annual business report category. What were these?
Great participation. And
Right. Kelly Bax. Kelly competed in the personal finance category. Oh,
Right.
right. Here you have Farhan Ahmed. Right? Farhan competed in the Intro to Information Technology category. Right? Good.
All right, let's do the wrap it up. Would you like to share anything about the process of what this team went through? And
My apologies for all those that weren't here. But through these schedules, and they're involved in lots of things. But these students did an outstanding job at our state leadership conference. They got to state, they had to qualify at regionals. Then they went to state, and now they are headed to national competition in Chicago this summer. They did amazing work. We took second place in the state of Wisconsin as a chapter. Ms. Alavia Prasad was elected to serve as the Wisconsin Vice President this next term, which is a major. So we're looking forward to going to Chicago this summer, and we'll have 17 of them competing at that national conference with over 12,000 students across the country. All right, well,
All people in back. Yeah, that will win.
we were just facing.
Okay. Everybody look at the camera. Thank you.
any more pictures? Wait,
Wait.
Thank you. All right.
So good.
Thank you. Forensics. As it starts to here a little.
You're gonna be the one. All right, so again, I'll read one through, and then I'll read the name of the. Okay. Okay. Certificate of Appreciation. Muskegon Norway School Board presents a certificate in grateful recognition of Braden Sardinas for his contribution to the Muskegon High School Forensics Team, earning the 2022 Distinction in Speech Award from the WHSFA, Wisconsin High School Forensic Association. This award is presented to those teams who placed in the top 6 to 10% of individual state medal-winning schools in the state of Wisconsin. In addition to this prestigious recognition, Braden received a bronze medal in the category of Farrago at the state tournament. The Muskegon Norway School Board awarded Braden for his perseverance, team spirit, and commitment to excellence in the co-curricular activity of forensics, which has brought honor to himself, his family, the Muskego schools, and community. The Muskego School Board wishes Braden success in his future and career endeavors. Congratulations. Ellie Danahan. In addition, for her contribution to the state forensics team, in addition to this prestigious recognition, Callie received a silver medal and semifinals award in the category of informative at the state tournament. Jack Hubkin. In addition to this prestigious recognition, Jack received a gold medal in the category of Moments in History at the state tournament. Kai Marcy. In addition to this prestigious recognition, Kai received a silver medal and semifinalist award in the category of Moments in History at the state tournament. Congratulations. Kirsten Shalinsky. In addition to this prestigious recognition, Kirsten received a silver medal in the category of Moments in History at the state tournament. Team captain Sabrina Ebert. In addition to this prestigious recognition, Sabrina received a gold medal in the category of oratory at the state tournament. Oh, he's up the chair. Team captain Sydney Perneski. In addition to this prestigious recognition, Sydney received a silver medal and semifinalist award in the category of pros at the state tournament. Stephanie Waller. In addition to this prestigious recognition, Stephanie received a silver medal and semifinalist award in the category of special occasion at the state tournament. Congratulations.
So, Coach, you want to kind of share a bit about this team's journey?
They did a fantastic job this season. Not only did they place between the sixth and not only did they earn the distinction award for WHSFA state, but they placed sixth in state at the WFCA state tournament as well. And individually, all of them earned numerous awards. If you ever get a chance to go over to the trophy case by the North Gym, you can see what they've earned just this season. It is full. So they did a great job this year.
Good. Well, thank you, everybody, and we understand if you need to leave, that's absolutely fine. We understand. All right, so continuing with the superintendent's report, we are on to the technology update to the board. So I turn that over to Tony.
Okay. I will not be doing this alone. Too nervous. There's actually some others that are going to be joining. We'll have Brian and Emily and Michelle, and they'll be walking shortly. But let me just start off by bringing up a presentation. While we're doing that, you can join me over here. Come on over. We'll find it. Sure. Are Emily and Tony in the lounge?
They're there.
Oh, they're coming. Great.
Yeah, they were probably crying.
Few people exiting at the same time.
Exactly.
Hi, Tony. Yeah, that's great. That's fine. We don't have any microphones in front of us that we enough from the back. So.
Okay.
Everyone. All right, great. So, hello, everybody. Again, it's that time of year we get to talk a little bit about Tilt and Tech. Tilt is technology and information library team. So that's a combination of things, tech integration, library, and all those things. That's really a team of mostly Tony and Emily, but they have teams as well. So that's a big part of it. But then also tech. And so that is, at this point, a whole group of people, but you're going to be represented today by myself and also Ryan Busak. And so before I go any further, let's just have some introductions to make sure everybody knows who we are. Tony, I'll have you start if that's okay. Yeah, please.
Okay.
Great.
Tony Hajnowski, I'm the K-8 librarian, so I work at the elementary and middle levels.
I'm Emily Pittler. I work at Muskego High School as a librarian.
I'm Ryan Busek.
Can you guys stand up?
Oh, I do. I'm Ryan Busek. I am the manager of technical services, and I work up right in that office over there.
Yeah. So there's some changes on the horizon. It's probably no secret to anyone here that I'll be transitioning out eventually, but also Ryan will be moving on up. So Ryan is not only going to be manager of technical services, he'll be the director of technology in the district. So we're very excited about that transition. And most importantly, Ryan's been on this path for how many years have you been in the district now?
17 million.
Yes, 17. Dog years, it's like. So thanks everybody, and let's get started. We have a brief presentation in respect of everyone's time, so I'll advance to the slides. You tell me when to move forward. So.
All right, so I brought some props with me as I usually do. So one of the highlights of our elementary program was a story walk. So we decided to take literacy and take it outside. So we extended our impact on the kids to outside. So there were signs like this. There are probably between 12 or 14. So if the kids walk down one way, they see one story, then they turn around, come back, and they see another story. So on the story, there's little questions and pictures. It goes right along with storybook. So it gives them prompts, things to do for literacy. And it was really heartwarming and cute because little kids like to play school. So at recess, they're playing school. Sometimes I did get to be a student one time. I had to remember to raise my hand. But so they're very cute. This year's focus, because it was our first try at it, I went with 4K and like a 1-2. And third and fourth grade had expressed an interest. So next year, we have more of a 1, 2, and 3, 4 focus. So we'll have that, and it's outside of each of our elementary buildings. I work with the reading coaches and reading committees at each building. They help pick the stories, and they also pick the location. And so this year was kind of pilot. We got it started, and next year they've already committed. They're going to do much more with it, share and have some more ideas. But so this was very popular at elementary, so it was our focus. Another thing we did at elementary this year is classrooms were booked. So you may in some of your settings have been booed. So you know you get a little treat, you get something. So they were booked. So they get these little bags, and there would be different books in them. And each grade level would share some bags. So the kids would be so excited. They'd come in the morning and they saw the bag. It was on their door, and they have a little sign that they check off what they were reading. And so this became super popular. We expected to do it once, and at 2 of the schools, they've done it twice. And one of our schools, it's being saved as a really fun thing to do in the next couple of weeks. So, really popular, so we'll do that again next year. But again, a way to bring library literacy out into the classrooms. And everything on the focus of this was engagement, enjoyment. There's no questions, there's no worksheets, there's nothing. It's just, we're gonna read the story, we're gonna enjoy it. And so that was really popular for our elementary schools. Okay. So then at middle school, in our library areas, we also take care of the Chromebooks. So there's a lot of repair. So with the help of Tony, we went through and we figured out how many repairs. We estimated how much time kids would spend from classroom to library to find solutions. So we were losing a lot of instructional time. So what we came up with is we started to have trainings. We trained the ladies. They changed screens, they changed batteries on the Chromebooks. So when we would send them in, it could be days, weeks. Last year was difficult, it was a month or so. Now we're getting a turnaround of anywhere from an hour to next morning. So it's really quick, and the ladies are so good and quick with these repairs and things that's helped. But we also have put 2 Chromebooks in each of the classrooms. So kids, it's one of those natural consequences. You're in this class 1, you have to log in, use a Chromebook. When you go to class 2, you have to log in again. And middle school kids, that is like working a 24-hour day. It's bad. It's hard. So they really get it really quick that they log in, they go, they don't forget their Chromebook again. So we've cut down our lost instructional time more than half. So it's been very, very helpful for us, and our library assistants in both middle schools are proficient. They are really good at repair, so it's a really good thing that we've added this year.
Okay, so something I feel like we were talking about our theme of extending literacy is good. So I was thinking and reflecting about how I don't have a captive audience of some kids. So how could I extend myself out into the school building more? And so this year I started the MHS Library News. So once a month I send out a monthly newsletter, and we have 3 sections. So first is the reading nook, where I recommend 2 books that have come. Sometimes they're themed, sometimes they are just the new ones that have come out. Then there's a movie corner, so we purchased Swing Streaming, and this is a service where kids can see the movies. So it's like Netflix for schools, but they're all movies that have some type of educational component. So when the Olympics happened, there were different movies around. Like Miracle was one that I promoted that month, so that we get some Olympic historian things around there. And then a library resource. So something that the library provides that students might not know about. So this is an opportunity for me to remind them of it, because they might have only heard it once in a different setting. So they help take the new graphics that are going up in the library in June, the different charging options we have for kids and their Chromebooks and phones. There's summer reading opportunities, and then the testing resources that we have for different AP and ACT and different practice tests. So like the public library for Badgerly that we can subscribe to offers like 2 practice tests for AP tests for each one. So the teachers really liked that. Why do all the testing things have an A in it? It's just so hard to keep track of them all. Okay. The other thing that high school is doing right now is the MHS Staff Book Club. So it helps us build community among staff. Our staff is so big. We have over 100 teachers somewhat in there. And so this is a way that we can all come together for something fun and have a discussion. It also helps us better understand our students, because for some of us, it's been a hot minute since we've been in high school. So sometimes it's nice to remember like some of those feelings, just even though we live with it every day, it's nice to get that empathy and build up our empathy. And then we're reading different genres. So up there you can see we have a graphic novel in Hey Kiddo, a novel in verse with Poet X, and then a novel in prose with the Firekeeper's Daughter that we discussed next week. Typically we get 10 to 20 participants, so that's almost like 20% of our staff, who wants to come and join us. And they're from many different departments. Like for one series of cat, I had a math teacher and a science teacher banging down my door to get the next one. So we're showing different ways to enjoy reading and getting that across the curriculum. And one science teacher told me that the book that we chose for book club, one of her students in her science class was reading, and she hadn't made a connection yet with this student. So they were able to talk about that book and open a different connection. So it's a cross-curricular way to make connections with kids. Other books, like other ways that we can get books is Sora. So I've worked with some of you on the board to get access to Sora, so you can see how easy it is to get audiobooks and ebooks for our students. We currently serve grades 3 through 12, and then it's a nice transition from grade levels and buildings. So on the back end, Tony and I curate our collections just like we do the print collections. So we are the ones who are choosing, and we are the ones who are choosing the access level. So when a child goes in, the platform knows what grade they are in, so that we can monitor the appropriateness for what they are reading. So just like our print collection, our ebook collection is there for what our kids need.
Okay, so we have incredibly busy libraries. As you can see, 83,000 checkouts. Every year it consistently goes up. We allow the kids to do summer checkouts. This year for K-12, we'll have our libraries open one day so that the kids can come in and get books right from our collection. Our audiobooks went down a little bit this year, but that was because we determined last year we still had virtual kids and they accessed so much more. But our print checkouts went up, so it kind of evened itself out. And then our online resources, we had 238,000 checkouts, so that's pretty incredible. Our kids are using those resources. And just like our print materials, those are curated by grade level also. So we're busy.
So, I guess we're going to be on to me. Before I go there, if you go into our libraries, you see that there's incredible resources within them. They're very engaging, very busy. We have students everywhere. And it's not the traditional shh, right? It's hives. There's active process happening all over the place. What I love the most, though, is that library media resources spill out into the entire school. And that goes a long way for making sure that we're connecting with kids along the area of literacy, and so that they don't have to just come to the library comes to them. That's a very special thing. Thank you for that. I'm going to switch it over to our tech mentor tips. I'll share a couple slides, and then Ryan will as well. Tech mentors aren't a new concept, and just to remind everybody, we have deputized teachers in classrooms. They wear a little badge everywhere, they don't. But we ask them to become our outreach for additional technology support. And by that, specifically around the instructional areas of technology. So if there are opportunities for additional learning, they are often the ones who are on the forefront of both learning that and then sharing that with the rest of the fellow staff members and even some students. And then also that this is a crew that works together. So it's very collaborative. I hate going back a couple of years. We all know what happened a couple of years ago. But really, this crew really stood together to make sure that our district was getting all the resources it needed and that information it needed to get everybody up to speed on things. And that was driven by Tony and Emily to make sure that this crew was ready to roll. It was very impressive. So I can only say such wonderful things about them, and each person on there has a very significant impact in terms of what we do for technology in the system. Our added option this year was in our bi-weekly that goes out as communication every 2 weeks for staff that they put in tech tips. And so they all jumped in and come up with different versions every 2 weeks of tech tips for the entire district. And so that was a really nice way just to share out again more additional learning and just in time learning as people were ready for that. So there are names of all of our staff, high school, middle school, and elementary. The next part is, this is not a new concept, but I think it's really important that we reaffirm what we have in place for the options on our Chromebooks. As Tony talked about with Chromebooks and access both within the space, there's also like, what do we talk about with both use and sometimes misuse? And so what we did was we actually have a program called GoGuardian. The admin side is what actually does content filtering and also reporting. So if we need to look up use case in a certain situation about a student, we have access to that, but also is filtering on the go. When you're in the district, you always have filtering. That's required by law. When you leave the district, you also have filtering. And that's the part. So we want to make sure that students have that same level of filtering, whether they were on-site or off-site. And then we also have a program called GoGuardian Teacher. That's a newer system, newer program that allowed us to actually give teachers access to, let's call it like lock and unlock screens. So if I had 30 students in the classroom, their Chromebooks were all up doing randomly whatever they're researching or looking up, we can actually lock those screens in real time to either take attention away from the device and bring it to another area of the classroom. And also we can chat to students and broadcast. So if I want to broadcast a website that I'm looking at, I actually can click send and it'll show up on every person's device all at once. So it's a great way to guide students as they're on that pathway to learning in the classroom. And then also the part about scenes or sessions, I can actually say, I only want you to access these certain websites at this specific time. How great of a feature is that? World Wide Web is very vast. We understand that. So how do we keep everyone locked in to what we only want them to see in that moment? And so a teacher can create a scene or a session for that, which again, pushes out, which is really great. Even when we talk about some of the assessments or other things that we do, ones that start with A's and not. And then also, we can look back historically on whether or not students were accessing certain things and off task. And it's not a punitive measure, this is more just to keep students going forward. So GoGuardian has been a really great tool for us. We've had it since 2014. The GoGuardian teacher side we've had for the last, I think, 2.5 years. Had early piloters with that. And this is probably tripled in use in the last year and a half. So really great stuff. I'm going to turn it over to Ryan, and he's going to talk a little bit more about this.
Yep, so just a few quick notes about some new systems that we have coming down this over the summer. One of them is going to be a new IT help desk. So what we found over the last couple of years is the help desk that we have was kind of focused towards custodians. It works really well for custodians. The IT side of it was lacking to the point of where they were not supporting the IT side at all. So one of the biggest problems that we ran into is if somebody opened a ticket on a Friday, that clock started running, it didn't stop until they fixed the ticket. So they already had 48 hours on their resolution times by the time they actually saw the ticket 2 days later. So we started looking for a new help desk. We came up with a new one. This is actually based out of the UK. So words like organization have a letter S in them, which all teachers notice right away. Otherwise, real simple, real fast. I think it'll work out real well for us. So we'll roll that over the summer. By July 1st, I think we'll just switch over to it. Next system that we're going to run out is going to be multi-factor authentication. This one was courtesy of our insurance company.
You want cyber, this is the way to go.
So school districts have been on target from ransomware for quite a long time. They've really aimed hard at us. Us personally haven't had anything, not on wood yet, but this will put a good stop to that. So insurance companies are usually starting to mandate running out multi-factor authentication. Just for staff for us. Admins have been using it for a couple of years now. Anybody who can pay a bill, basically, we have rolling into that, but we're going to end up rolling that out to all staff. So basically, two-factor authentication is just going to authenticate you against your device, your phone or a USB key. You'll have to use it once. So you register it with your device, and then you don't have to register with your device anymore. Any new device that you log into, it's going to ask you again. And that should be good for the life of the device that you use, unless you clear cache or cookies or anything like that. We're going to roll this out over the course of this summer. Hopefully by end of summer, everybody will be enrolled, and we'll be good to go from there.
That'll include board members, won't that?
Yes, it will.
All right.
Anybody with privilege that.
Before we get to the next slide, which is kind of our final one, I want to give people an update about where we're at. Supply chain is always a concern and a difference. And so thanks to the work of the board approving our lease a little earlier this year, we're able to get that going and move it forward and get our devices ordered, which should be arriving in the next month or so. That allows us to not worry about supply chain. We are hearing that if you were to order something potentially in June, which is traditionally what we have in the past, it may not arrive in time for the school year to start. So I know you're all losing sleep over it, but I want you to rest easy tonight. Those devices are coming, they're in transit, so we're really excited about seeing those. So just giving an update there, because that's a pretty big deal, making sure that our learners are ready to go 5th and 9th grade. So, last slide, questions or comments?
I have a couple, Tony.
Yeah, go ahead.
And actually, this would be for you, Tony, other Tony.
Tony.
The book walk, did you do it in the winter time, or was it purely just what it was next outside?
We did it in the fall.
In the fall?
Yeah.
Okay.
We tested it out and then, so next year I left the reading coaches open, they voted for fall also.
Okay, perfect. And then you refer to the ladies fixing the Chromebooks. Is that the tech mentors or is that somebody else?
That's the library assistants in the middle school library, sorry.
Okay, that's all right. I'm just curious.
There's 11 of them and one of me, so they're always the ladies. Yeah.
No problem. And then audiobooks. So I never got access to my audiobook. So is it just because we don't have enough on purchase wise or what is
So probably, so they went in and I checked, and so we can check again,
yeah.
with the whole that we had, so the next day it should have been available to you.
Oh.
So, but it doesn't always send, I don't know if you didn't sign up for the email, but we will figure it out.
Okay.
So it takes 24 hours for us to get a new copy, and so I have done that for other students in the past, so it's about a 24-hour turnover for a new audiobook to get onto the system.
But do you get a notification that it's available?
You should.
It depends on how you have it set up, so
Maybe I didn't have it set up that way.
So I just want to double check, I don't want to say yes or no, because sometimes it depends on if you chose it to come.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can sign up for the notification.
So normally you can get it within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's user error, no problem. Perfect, thanks. Those are my 3 questions.
Thanks, Tracy. Yeah.
Question, is there a place where we can go to get a list of books that are available? Like I saw I was kind of peeking through and it says, oh, come to the library to see what new books we have. What if you don't have a kid in the school or you're not gonna go to the library? Is there a place where we can access a list of books online? Because I'm looking at the resources for online ones, but which ones do you have hard copies?
Okay, so we have an online public access catalog. So there's links on the library websites that'll take you there and you can look through. So if you're looking for particular books, you can search for that. To give you a list, so I just ran the stats for Bailey. We have 25,000 items. So if I gave you a list, it would be this thick, and that would just be one school. So,
How do kids know what's all there? I mean, how do they find what all books are there?
well, because they're in the building, I can speak to K-8. So we do lessons with our K-6 kids, so we'll highlight the new books that came in. All of our schools have new book displays that have come in, so things like that. They'll come because they're doing research. Today I had one, so do you have anything more on blah, blah, blah? She's the sharp lady. And so then it's, okay, so we'll go so we teach the kids how to search for the materials also. So they get pretty savvy by the time, I'd say by 3rd grade, it's hard for the little ones 1st and 2nd because literacy can be a barrier, but we do icons so they can see pictures. So if they're looking for princess books, which are hot, or books on cars, or images, so that's how we present it to the kids, and since they're there, they're always looking for things.
And it's pretty tangible too, when they come in to look for something, they are drawn to the different colors. For sure. But yeah, but you can search for any topic or subject line that you want online.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, first, let's thank Tony for his last presentation to this
Oh.
board anyway. Continuing on, thank you so much for your service and for continuing with us and working toward our, this excellence in our system. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. Our next item in the superintendent's report is the activities report to the board. So we have the one and only wonderful Ryan.
Yes.
Can we get this one downloaded? Can we get this downloaded? No.
Should be under public content.
Your administrative. Oh, Ryan, did you want that?
No,
Oh,
nope, I'll just put it in there one spot.
yes, I will move that, Tracy.
Okay.
Are you ready?
If you refresh.
All right, here we go. So, co-curricularly, we're doing a lot of good things. If you just saw at the start of this board meeting, phenomenal celebration. We'll touch on a few of those as we keep going. But what's our mission? We want to be as good or better than anybody else around us. We're well on our way. We're not there yet, but we're working hard at it. And again, why are we here? We're here to connect the hearts and minds of students. We know by strategic planning surveys that our community values co-curriculars in every way, shape, or form. Our students value co-curriculars. And as we look at academics, and that's a big piece of what our system is, our goal is to enhance academics any way we can. And how do we do that? We help to give students a why or connect them emotionally to the content, to school, to being there every day. And hopefully we're the reason why they're getting out of bed and coming to school, even if they don't want to do school, okay? So sometimes we have that, and that's okay too. But as we take a look, and the next 3 slides are really just the data that shows if you're engaged in co-curriculars, you're going to achieve at a higher level than those that are not. And that's ideally, we want everybody in 2 when they get to high school, and at least 1 in middle school, and keep things moving. The one interesting slide that I'll point out to you is this past school year, as year 1 of the pandemic coming out of that. Yes, we had co-curriculars, but they weren't the same. For example, our wonderful forensics team that was just here tonight, they were never able to get in the same room, at the same place with each other to brainstorm ideas and build, and they had to do everything virtually. And the people component was missing, and as you see, so was our achievement as we get going. And now this year, I'm curious to see, as Mr. Bavlinka informed me, I think we're going to do better as we got back to normal with our co-curricular programming. I think you'll see our achievement jump back through the roof in terms of academics. So, and again, we're here to serve the system, help the system be better than it could be without us, and again, keep kids in the community going. And again, we're doing a really good job specifically at the high school and then district-wide as we go here as well. One of our main objectives, or at least my main objective that I do believe strongly in, is building community, and how many different ways can we find platforms to build community, get our community together, have our community access our facilities, our programming, our schools for various different components. And last Friday night was a great one. We had Raya going on the board out here, first community movie night of the summer kicking off. Great crowd, 100+ people here, and our sports marketing team from MHS owned that event and did a wonderful job of putting the best foot forward. And the graphics were unbelievable with that Disney movie with the colors and everything. So we got a lot of comments. It's pretty sweet. Everything from that to spooktacular events to the daddy-daughter dance that our FBLA team that you just saw puts on every spring. That was packed in the PAC earlier on, and continuing to move forward. Our band with the middle school night, bringing our middle schools into our high school culture at a sporting event and having numerous instruments and things going and learning from the older students and just continuing to push that thing forward. And obviously the winterizer that was LCC kind of on the top. And our cheerleading team out at the nursing homes, spreading warrior
pride and cheer. Just getting out in the community, and it's a big piece of who we are and what we do, and we're going to keep working hard at it. Here's all of our successes from this past time, the last May, to where we are now today. There's a lot of them, a lot of good things going on, and I'm not going to read all of them to you, but you can kind of see we're working, and we're not done yet. We're still wrapping up our spring season, so it should be good fun. But a couple to highlight is record year as we look across the board in state. The cheer team won state, our track team, girls track team won state, our ski team had some of the highest finishes and an individual state champion, and that's the first time that I've seen that since I've been here. FBLA's obviously rocked it. The musical got back to being the musical as we know it, having crowds, and they did a great job of selecting the right show, I think, for the time, getting people all together, having a little laughter, and putting on a phenomenal performance as entertaining. And our boys wrestling made it back to state for the first time in 12 years. And then those that really broke through and took the next step is our Warrior Bots. They went down to Worlds, which is in Houston, Texas. They had to win a regional, which they were able to accomplish, I believe, twice in Milwaukee and lacrosse. They also traveled out to New York and learned a lot there, but that helped them win our regionals to be able to qualify for Worlds to get down to Houston and finish 30th down there in their pools, which was the upper half, because there's oodles and oodles of teams down there. And then HOSA will head down to Nashville later on this June to compete in their nationals. They're pushing it forward, and they did not plan on that. They just have achieved that, and they kept it. So that's been fun to work with them to work on the unexpected. And then our gymnastics team, if you don't know, our gymnastics team used to have 4 teams in a co-op. Due to some WIA rules, we chose to split that into 2. And our team, along with Franklin, which is predominantly all Muskego girls leading the charge, and our coach lives in town and our community, and we really own that team. I was able to push it forward, and they put a lot of hard work in to be state champs again. In the bottom left corner is our first ever intramural basketball championship team. We had over 100 students participate in intramurals, and our activities office staff did a phenomenal job of working our facility calendar to make that happen. And in the past, it was said we can't be done, we don't have the space, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to get a lot easier now that we got some other facilities coming down the road. But we found a way to make it happen. It wasn't a lot, but we got it there, and it was they really accessed it and came in some late hours. Some statewide unique recognition. When you think sportsmanship or winning the appropriate way, again, the forensics team was a distinction of speech school across the state, which again, they were very successful. You just heard that, but they are doing it the right way, and that's how you get voted to be that distinction of speech school. Gymnastics, not only did they go win the state championship, but they also were voted by their peers with the sportsmanship award. So ultra classy, and in a sport that has extremely high ethics and a lot of expectations to rise to and how you should act and what you should do. And our girls were the top of the top there. And then our students who represented Muskego High School at the WIA Sportsmanship Summit earlier, or in the middle of winter, January, if I remember correctly. This came out, we won in the past, the Award of Excellence in Leadership, Sportsmanship, Integrity by the WIA, our governing body for athletics. We were awarded this in August of 21, so that was for last school year, and we'll see. I anticipate we'll get that again as we keep moving forward, as long as we keep doing things the right way. Warriors Way Development. This happened at the very, very end of last year, so last June, almost a calendar year out from the last time I presented. But our middle schools reached out and said, hey, is there anything we can do to get our 8th graders ready to go and moving forward and learning the expectations that high school might bring to them? And I said, absolutely. We got an athletic leadership council, and we can grab even more student athletes, and we'll bring them down there. We'll put together a little presentation, have a Q&A. And it went really, really well, so much so that I know Principal Irvine's already been reached out to this year to bring our students back to do the exact same thing again with the 8th graders, keep the 8th graders engaged and moving forward, hopeful, excited for the next step in their educational journey and moving up here. A couple of other highlights. This was our first season of hockey. Our hockey co-op, with the addition of the Muskego School and under the Muskego leadership, had its most successful season in co-op history. It's been around for at least 15 years. We beat teams that the co-op has never come close to beating before, such as University School, which has their own ice rink right on campus, and that's really all they do is hockey up there, and we showed up and took it to them, so that's pretty cool, and some other schools. So That was neat. Dr. Thompson got out to the ponds and experienced the following that started to build towards the end of the school year, and student section of pep band, and that started to get going, so that's neat. You're learning hockey. Our girls wrestling team, most successful season in school history. They all qualified for state. That's a picture from from the lacrosse center. Wonderful venue. That's going to continue to grow as this is the 50th year of Title IX 2022. And that was a great way to kick it off in January. And then again, where are we going? Where have we been? What have we done in the last 5 years? You can kind of see where we've added pieces and programming to keep moving. And the next big step for us is facility planning and make sure we get it right, if you will, as we work forward. On facility planning, just to throw something on your radar here quickly, if this will work, maybe it won't. We can come back to it, but I'll come back about the facilities. We'll come back. The Women of Will video. Show hands. How many people saw it? You saw it? Good. Do we want to watch it again?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Hopefully this works, Tony. Oh, I don't know if it will work. I had it linked. Maybe it won't.
I think you have to
We can end with that if we
We
want.
have a keyboard here.
escape and then do it.
There it is. Good audio.
Here's something. We'll build a legacy of she's unbelievable, she's intelligent, she's unstoppable. We push boundaries and break stereotypes. Believe us, your sweat, your hard work, and dedication is worth it. I compete and prove that I'm just as impressive as men. We will pave the way for generations of female athletes. We will set our own goals and create our own success.
I will break boundaries.
Embrace your challenges. Take every opportunity to excel as a strong female athlete. Strong is beautiful. We are capable of anything we put our minds to. We will inspire others to shatter societal standards and steer for mediocrity. In order to be the best version of yourself, you need to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. The potential for greatness lives within each one of us. Nothing can hold you back. I am fearless. I am persistent. I am determined. I am worthy. I am resilient. I am powerful. I am strong. I am unbreakable.
So the unique piece about that video that a lot of people don't know is that's our Women of Will. We call them Wall Squad, student leaders. They wrote every piece of every line that you saw in that whole video and created it with Coach Rouse and Coach Beck. And the girls really took the ownership. And it stemmed from our partnership with BSN and Under Armour. And we do these Women of Will. We're part of a pilot group, and really we're leading the pilot group of 7 schools around the Midwest, and really providing feedback on various different action steps that come through from that program. And the girls have done a phenomenal job, like you just saw, which is really good. Our One Warrior initiative, again, continuing to build this back. The pandemic really kind of hit this one hard in terms of getting people together to support one another and be that wave of warriors and bring that energy to any one of our venues, facilities, competitions, however you want to say that. And again, it continues to grow. I think our boys and girls volleyball teams did a phenomenal job this fall of really supporting one another. They are always at each other's games. We're starting to build it into the youth as well, where we have our little Warriors basketball camps continuing to grow, and the girls up top and part of the winterizer. And then the unique piece, again, we got a new police chief in town, and he's kind of taking it to heart as well and building. It's really about the community. It's not about MHS athletics. It's about all of us and everything that we're doing, because we're all Warriors. We're all part of the greater mission in making this the best community it can possibly be. So still working at that one, continuing to get it there. And again, where are we going? How are we going to get there? Again, what's important to our people is really what we're going to do, and continue to upgrade facilities, continue to recruit the best people that are out there, teacher, coaches, that can do both and impact in the classroom and in the other co-curricular venues, and work hard at it. And again, we didn't come this far, only come this far. We got work to do, and we're going to keep moving, and people believe in it, and they keep pressing the envelope. So that's it. Good stuff. Let's go back to facilities here real quick, if I can. Tony, can you help me find the other?
Should be right.
Yeah. In the presentation.
You might. Oh yeah, go back to the communication. You might be able to link right to it.
Oh, you have a link to back towards the top.
Right there.
Who's the other?
You have a link in board docs.
Yeah, sorry.
So as we start to talk about our baseball and softball facilities, specifically baseball, as you can see in the picture there, it doesn't look like a great facility to have. And again, as we notice, as we continue to work through the past 4 or 5 years, and again, a historical perspective of where baseball was at. The last season of summer baseball, Mosquito won the whole thing, and we were state champs. Ever since that point, we've started to move forward. We've started to notice some field struggles as they begin, and getting feedback from our baseball community and continuing to work forward. The year after that, everything was canceled. We got back and we started to make investments into our baseball field, where we brought a professional crew in to regrade the field. And we had a lot of issues last year with cancellations and getting fields ready to be prepared on time and carry the excellence that we expect across our system in a lot of different venues. We added lights to build flexibility in partnership with the city. And we thought we're moving on the right path, and then we got to this spring, and literally our field has been unplayable. Our varsity has not played a game prior to May on that field, and all of March, all of April was off it, and we didn't practice either. And so we had to start investing in moving all, and I couldn't do it for a third season to our baseball community and say, sorry, there's nothing we can do. So the activities office started busting around and started finding facilities. We started renting a facility and getting our kids to be able to play baseball and move around to the Rock, to MSOE, and to Frame Park around us, all of which are turf facilities to allow our baseball guys to go to work. We believe we have crushed drain tile underneath the baseball field, which has led to the backup as we did some exploring and popped open one of the drain tiles, and it filled up a whole retention pond. It was like a geyser going off, as the ground crew described to me. The only way we're going to fix drain tile is to dig the whole thing up, and the question becomes, what are we going to put back on top of it as we keep moving forward? With that said, we have the softball side of things too, because we always go hand in hand with male and female sports. And baseball and softball facilities are those two facilities, and anything that we do to baseball, we got to think about softball to stay in compliance and keep moving forward. And we've had a lot of the similar experiences, but not to the level of frustration as we've had in baseball, because we've been able to work some things. And our grounds crew took the initiative in softball. We shrunk the field to regulation size. It was actually a little bit bigger 2 years ago. That made a huge impact this year. The lights and the scoreboard have allowed us to stack games and work flexibility. So what we thought we could get accomplished with baseball, we've been able to scratch the surface a little bit with softball as we keep moving forward. But the facility in general still needs to be continually worked on and upgraded to stay, again, with the pace of baseball. But again, here's some of the numbers that you can start to see. It's cost us $300 to $400 a game to move a baseball field. When we move and go rent these other facilities, we are close to as much as what we are paying for the sport of ice hockey. which is an extremely costly sport, as a lot of you know, when you're renting frozen ice in a full facility with a Zamboni and staff, et cetera, and baseball has gotten there. It's very, very close. We start to look at the total number of hours invested in work. We got 315 man hours just this year to this point today put into our baseball field. The hard part about that is that takes people away from preparing all of our other facilities. Our soccer field getting rolled, our tennis courts getting pressure washed, et cetera, on down the road. And then there's dollars and cents that kind of goes into that. Our cost of our reputation, we've gotten a lot of feedback from the Umpire Association. They don't want our games anymore because they're not going to get what they signed up for. They know Ryan's going to call and move the game, change the location of the game, mess with the time, and they don't want that. And so we've gotten some feedback on that as well, and obviously our baseball families have had displeasure on why can't we play when others are able to. We'll kind of continue to work at it and try and find solutions as best we can, but again, are we setting ourselves up for a sustainable future? Is this just going to keep coming and coming and coming? Is the question. So what's the proposed solution? Potentially take a look at, once we dig up to fix those green tiles, can we replace it with a synthetic surface? Can we make some adjustments to softball to keep us up to par with what baseball is and keep moving forward as we plan for some of the bigger facility upgrades? And we're going to be doing a lot of construction on campus. So does it fit hand in hand to save money and save financial resources? And I think working with our district operations staff potentially, and we'll have to work together to see that. But again, if we can get these facilities there, I think we can open up greater partnerships with our city. I think we can host mega tournaments in terms of economics and bringing people to our town to play baseball and softball all year round. With some of the upgrades that the city has done at Park Arthur and our various other fields, and obviously we have the lights. So there could be a lot of good things that come from this. Because we've changed our mindset with our facilities and we believe strongly in that we are community centers, our youth baseball and youth softball have chomped at the bit and have jumped on. It really started last summer with the addition of lights, and they have packed our facilities calendar to be out on our campus and playing today. The problem is what happens when it starts to rain and when we can't even get on. How do we continue to keep these feeder groups with us accessing our facilities and keep moving forward? So again, the return on investment remains to be seen, but we can do more discussing and more working at this. But this is just my brainstorming at the start to make everyone aware of where we're at today and what is. And it's not just this year, it's been years ongoing, and I know our grounds crew is extremely frustrated and working hard. It's not like anyone's not trying, I guess. We're putting in some sweat equity here, and we might need some help, and we'll figure out how we exactly get there as we keep going. So just an FYI, and we probably could have ended with the women in the world video. But it's all good. So thank you for the time. Appreciate it. If you got any questions, let me know.
Any questions for Ryan?
So, Ryan, is there a reason why we can't go back to summer ball?
Yeah, because the whole state completely changed to spring. There's nobody plays summer anymore. Yeah, so the spring number of teams was dwindling probably for about a decade. And it started to get lower and lower and lower. And then the Baseball Coaches Association, in partnership with the WI, worked hard at how do we find a plan to make it right. I think you're going to see some adjustments to the schedule coming from the WI, because last year, which was the pandemic year, allowed us some flexibility because everything was backed up in that truncated sports schedule. We learned a lot from that. I don't think we can push all the way back to the end of June and July like we did last year, but I think we can do some creative planning with allowing contact for teams to start in March, but maybe we don't play our first game till mid-April, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see what comes from the state governing body as we keep moving forward. Really, they set our timelines and our schedules and all that stuff. Everything, the spring break and the tryouts. We don't get to set that. WI sets that.
The other question I have for you is, I know that we have our lacrosse team now, and we have boys that are playing lacrosse in McGuanago. Is it possible to ever have a team here?
Yeah, and we also got some boys that have played in Franklin, and a couple that have gone to Waukesha as well, because technically our community is a free agent, if you will, and we have to kind of choose based on the WFL. or WLF. WIA has boys and girls lacrosse on their docket to sanction. As soon as they sanction it, then that would be our step forward. I don't believe we'll get there before they will. But there's a subcommittee that's studying and gathering resources, working with WLF and the officials associations and everybody else out there to really take ownership of that and rein it in a little bit, because right now it's a little bit of the wild, wild west. They can do anything they want, whenever they want. In the guys' game, there's a lot of contact, and there's not all the acclimatization rules that we have in football. And that's what the WI and everyone's working together, along with the state of Illinois and Minnesota, to figure out where exactly do we fit in number of contests, contact, coaching contact days, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that is coming. I don't think that's going to stop, because the sport is booming and participation numbers keep going.
How many fields in our conference have turf? About this.
Baseball. So all of Waukesha plays at Frame. Waukesha West has their own on campus. Waukesha North and South play at Frame. CMH is at Infinity Field, but they're kind of a free agent when it comes to their facilities, so they're bouncing to MSOE right now because they have a strong connection there, as do we, and that's how we were able to get on the field, which is turf. Outside of that, I don't believe there's anybody else in our conference, but Oak Creek, Kenosha Bradford, the Racines, and then Tosa, and then Franklin, who has the rock right in their backyard. Everybody in the old SDC that we used to be with, everybody along the lakeshore, basically all on turf. So that's, then we have some Prairie and Broadhead and numerous other schools who moved from that.
So the other teams just having that, like, I saw it, they're like, why is Arrowhead able to play that?
Yeah.
They just have better drainage on their field, right?
Yeah, yep, and that's where we believe we have the crushed drain tiles, and we gotta dig it all up to fix it. And then what do we do to, once we go to fix it, are we just gonna put everything back down again and hope that it doesn't happen, or?
The city went through a similar endeavor with Park Arthur, and I think the cost came back to like $100,000 to dig up and redo the drain tiles. So if we were to go to turf, we'd have to put in a drainage system anyways. So we're about halfway there with the turf costs. So we go back to this.
What's your kind of timeline on this? That you're looking, are you come back for approval once you develop a plan for it? Or?
I think I gotta continue to work with Jeremiah and our internal staff and keep gathering data. I mean, I guess my thought process initially was, if we have construction crews and stormwater management and all that other stuff going on campus already, can we tie this into it and package it so we're not working as a standalone project to try and keep our costs down as much as possible? So hopefully next year's sometime, summer, spring.
I have a question.
Unless you tell me to bring it back for approval sooner, I'll do that.
Have you reached out to like organizations, Impro, Under Armour, you know, for help with funds?
Not yet, no.
I reached out to the city to see if we had a memorandum of understanding with them for stormwater management that we could push forward to the referendum, because we won't be breaking ground for over a year, which means we're either gonna do this project before that, or we'll potentially lose another season or have a really sketchy season. So we'll see what the city says. If they won't allow us to do that, we can't just start doing stormwater management when all those other projects are gonna happen. That's gonna require stormwater management. So either it will happen together if we do it, or potentially if the city would allow us to go in fall. So we could get bids for the turf and they could get it in as soon as possible.
Any other questions?
Okay, one, just some statements. I really appreciate the full involvement in the active or high-tech achievement. I think that just really shows what facilities can do. And, you know, when we have them, you know, we've always said that we're schools in the day and community centers at night. And when, I mean, our facilities are just churning around the clock. I mean, there just is not a time, there's not a gym being used, a ball game being played, a field being just kicked around, right? It's just incredible. So, thank you for managing all that. And I look forward to seeing how you're gonna manage, some of our new projects coming up. And then the other thing was, that hockey, totally awesome job. I mean, all the other sports are doing great, but that, I know you had personal, you were showing some personal effort there, and I appreciate that. I'm sure the community does too. It's a totally awesome effort on that, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you on that, so appreciate the support. That's all I have, yeah.
Thanks, Ryan. Goodness, moves forward. Awesome. The last agenda item in the superintendent's report is the contributions to professional. Jeremiah Johnson will be doing some active threat training with Laszlo. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Moving on, item 7, President's report. Other than thank you for electing me again, which possibly my final year, so thank you. And I think thank Alana. It was really nice, and look forward to seeing her in June. And then has everyone responded who wants to attend graduation and out the diplomas? Is there anyone who hasn't? If you haven't responded and have time and are available, please respond. It's a pretty awesome event. And that's all I have. Board member reports. At the time.
I just wanted to thank Jamie and Blake. Right after our last board meeting, we had new board member gatherings from the WMD, which we hosted here. We had it squared away. Set up, so I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I know you were kind of doing some things in the background there.
Just a few.
Just a few.
Like this.
Yeah, so I appreciate that very much.
Mrs. Ware. Mr. Bowman.
I know I've said this in the past, but just the end of as we wrap up the end of the year, I think just how we utilize our piece with all of the things that are going on, and just everything from our jazz concert to our band to our plays. And just see, I've been able to attend other districts and other schools, and while they're good, I just think ours is phenomenal. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that makes that happen. So.
I think I can vote too.
Claire.
Yeah, I put 2 documents into the board members' reports. One is that Lisa One was also a 2022 Top Workplace Award recipient. And then they have the events that are coming up in other documents, which are all hyperlinks. And then I know I announced it the last one, but to executive Doyle as our new executive. She's one in Burroughs.
Thank you. Mr. Zimmerman. Board reports, committee reports. The business services committee did not meet. The educational services committee.
Yep. So we met before this board meeting to review 5 different educational materials to decide if we were going to recommend to move them forward to the board. At this time, we are recommending 3 move forward, and we defer 2 until we can have further discussion on them at the next meeting, which is June 13th.
Sorry, what are those 2?
The novel, the AP Human Geography book.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that on the action items. Cool. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 8, resolution action items. MA. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Motion to approve resolution.
Oh, wait. I have to read this. Got it. So, okay. Item A, resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of $44,600,000 bond anticipation note pursuant to section 67.12 sub 1 sub B of Wisconsin statutes.
Motion to approve resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of $44,600,000 bond anticipation note pursuant to section 67.121B Wisconsin State.
Second.
Any discussion? So, out of these next 3, Julie, what's the best way? Are these in the correct order?
Yes.
Okay. So, for discussion on this, though it's up for action, I'm going to ask any board member if they have questions. There is further discussion going down here, but
Point
yes.
of privilege, just as a new board member, I just get a basic overview of exactly what it is that I honestly
Absolutely.
didn't get an opportunity to read these because I didn't have access to them until today on the Chromebook. So I'm just wondering what are more details about what we're doing.
So right now, we're going to be working on having the board approve the financing for the referendum. So the first resolution that's listed there, which is the one that you'd be taking action on now, is the borrowing of a bond anticipation note. So this is a short-term note, similar to like a construction loan if you're in between building a house and living in the house. What this does is this gives us the full $44.6 million for the referendum project. Then what we do in the next resolution is you're also authorizing us the parameters to pay off the bond anticipation note, and then actually sell bonds. And the bonds, the general obligation bonds, is what we will actually have outstanding that we will continue to pay off in the future as part of the referendum. So that's what these 2 items are going to be. The third item is actually a separate technology lease that we're talking about separately.
So it's what was discussed at the last meeting.
It was what was discussed at the last meeting, correct?
So what's basically happening here is that we're doing what the referendum allows us, except it's working out better for us in the end.
Correct.
And I think that'll come clear as we go forward.
In the next one.
Right. So any further discussion on this before we move on to the second phase of this?
Yep. Question. And I apologize if I missed it, but interest rates and things talked about anywhere in here. Is that in the next section?
It'll be in the next section.
Great, thank you.
Oh,
Any other-
wait, did you want to touch on interest rates for this one?
I
Jordan,
think we
you're-
did, well, I think we did, because, yeah, and we could just touch on that a bit, and then we'll move on to the second item, because I know they all kind of.
This will have a separate interest rate than the rest of it, though.
Right, because 2 and 3 are similar, and then this one is separate, right? Right, so.
Yep.
Yeah, so for this short-term financing, the rate is 1.84%. So it's very low because it's as short as we can go. It matures in 6 months, but it can be prepaid in 3 months. So our plan is to refinance it just in 3 months. If you're curious, the purchaser is Huntington Bank. I don't know if you've noticed them in the area. So they, about a year ago, merged with TCF Bank. So you're starting to see some of those locations around here.
So when we refinance in 3 months, though, we're subject to whatever the rates are then, we can't pay it off sooner than that?
So this can be paid off in 3 months, but assuming the parameters resolution is approved, the next action item, we can sell the bonds sooner than that. Our plan is to sell the bonds and lock in interest rates shortly after this ban closes, which is 3 or 4 weeks. Actually, June 7th this closes, and then we would look to sell the bonds shortly thereafter.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions or comments on that? 1.8 on the ban? So everyone's clear, right? It's like a construction loan, a BAM, short term. All right, hearing no other discussion, all those in favor state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And motion carries unanimously. Moving on, thank you, Julie. Thank you. I forgot your name.
Jordan, sorry. Yes.
Thank you, Jordan. Moving on to item 8B, resolution authorizing the issuance, establishing parameters for the sale of not to exceed $44,600,000 general obligation refunding bonds.
Motion to approve resolution authorizing the issuance, establishing parameters for the sale of not to exceed $44,600,000 general obligation refunding bonds as presented.
So moved.
Second. Go ahead, Terry.
Second.
Blair? No, Boyer.
Tra- Yeah,
Okay.
Tracy's got it. She said it first.
Wait, Tracy has it?
Can't. I spoke. That's it. Okay. So the discussion, and at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Julie to walk us through now.
Okay, thank you. So we talked through all of our referendum financing. We had also talked about our defeasance opportunities. So we do a defeasance, the years that we can, we have funds available to do so. Our intent was to bring that forward at this meeting. What a defeasance would allow us to do would be take money that we already levied this current year, and it's just over 3.1 million, and we would apply that to our current debt as it exists to pay that down. That defeasance process would have saved us $1.1 million in future costs. So it would have helped us pay down our debt sooner. When looking at the overall financing plan, there is an attachment in board docs, and I'm going to look at what it's called. It's the Muskego-Norway SD GORBS paydown band, if you want to follow along. But essentially what we did is we looked at, okay, if we don't do the defeasance, but we instead apply that $3 million, because we can only use it to pay down debt, and we've received information from bond counsel that this is how we can use our fund balance. If we took that 3.1 million and instead applied it to our new financing, because our new financing's interest rates are going to be higher than our old interest rates. So paying down old interest rates, again, saved us the 1.1. But if we were to take that 3 million, apply it to the bonds, essentially what we would do is when we pay off that short-term note, we'd be paying it off by selling bonds for 41.6 million, and then applying that 3 million to pay off the total 44.6. But then our total borrowing for this referendum would only be 41.6, not the 44.6. So we're borrowing less at a higher rate, instead of doing the defeasance and paying off a lower rate debt, if that makes sense. So in the overall scheme of things, it made sense for us to take this approach, not bring forward the defeasance, but instead bring forward a shorter bond issuance. So, is that right?
You did a good job.
It's like paying off your mortgage instead of your home equity loan, because it's a lower rate on the home equity loan.
Right.
That's all it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The one thing I will add, so the 41.6, that's an estimated number right now. There's a relationship with the principal, and bonds are sold with a premium too sometimes. So that number's not fixed, but the total amount that will be repaid will remain similar.
And this by doing it this way, given where interest rates are assumed or estimated to be, we would save an additional $400,000 on top of the 1.1 by doing it this way instead. So it gives us a greater financial benefit to move forward in this direction.
Well, and likewise, moving forward, we have the ability to choose, right? If there's further defeasance in years coming, we can choose which debt we want to repay first.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And what's the interest rate of the prior one compared to here? Do we know that?
Yeah, so the bonds that we would have looked at prepaying, I believe the rates are 3.25% outstanding. The new bonds that we're estimating right now to be a little below 4%, but obviously we still have a little bit of time between now and when we sell the bonds. We're unfortunately in a volatile, interest rate environment right now.
Any questions or discussion on that? Any clarification required?
Thank you for being thoughtful on that. That's awesome.
Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to our last of three here. Item 8C, resolution authorizing and approving property schedule number 8 to the master tax exempt lease purchase agreement with Providence Capital Network LLC.
Motion to approve resolution authorizing and approving property schedule number 8 to the master tax exempt lease purchase agreement with Providence Capital Network LLC as presented.
So moved.
Did I say no fights this time?
Well, I'm Jerry.
Oh, right, second.
Discussion.
So this is the capital lease that you've already seen. We approved it in consent moving forward, but this is the actual resolution that the board must authorize in order for us to actually move forward with the borrowing.
Any discussion, clarification? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Julie, for all that work in this. This is gonna work out real well. All right, moving on. Item 8D, instructional materials purchase.
So I don't see a motion in there.
So here, basically, this is a motion to, consider the following materials being recommended for approval. And I'm gonna, based on the committee recommendation, if you open up the, PDF that's in board docs, okay? What we're being asked to do, the motion is to approve and move forward the purchase of the following instructional, with the following instructional materials. So what the process will happen here is this. So the motion is to approve this document for the purchase of textbook and instructional materials. We'll have a motion, a second. It'll be on the floor. At that point, I'm going to ask the chair of the committee to make an amendment to that motion based on the recommendation from the Educational Services Committee, and then we'll discuss that if we have to, okay?
Yep.
Okay.
So motion to approve the materials for board consideration. Following materials are recommended for approval. All resources totaling $73,345.90. Fully budgeted for, I probably shouldn't, that's not part of the motion, is it?
Correct, that's fine. So a motion is in order, so.
Okay.
So moved.
So I would like to amend that
Well,
motion.
yes.
No, second?
Okay, now, the motion is on the, so now the motion is on the floor for discussion. That's to approve all of this, before you, 5
Discussion.
items, so it's now up for discussion.
Yep.
Yep.
So now it's.
So you
So-
want me
You
to?
want to-
So now,
Okay.
being this came from the committee, they have privilege, I will now defer to the committee chair, Terry, to,
Okay, so, based on our recommendations at our committee meeting, or I would like to amend the motion to, not include the novel When the Emperor Was Divine, and not include the Human Geography or AP course book at this time.
I'll second. You're still right, your first second.
okay,
Second.
so we have a motion to amend, and it's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion to amend?
I just, can I ask?
You can,
Okay.
yes.
So we're tabling it, right, because they still need books?
No. So we're gonna be deferring, we did not have enough time to review the novel. We ran out of time, so we're deferring that to next month. And the AP Human Geography book, there were some questions that they need answers, so we just, it was okay, and we moved that to June as well with that.
Okay.
So we'll be discussing those two on June 13th.
So, okay, hang on. So now, the amended motion is on the floor. Right,
Someone needs to move to amend the.
right, so we need to vote to, basically, we're voting to approve the amended motion on the floor, and then we vote
we can
again.
discuss it.
Right,
Okay.
But did anybody make a motion?
yes.
Okay, so her discussion was her motion?
No,
No,
she
Sharon
made the
said that.
motion, it was seconded by Brett. And now we're just, or Lori, and now we're just discussing on whether we're going to amend the original motion.
I know, but someone has to make a motion to amend.
I
She
did.
did.
I
She
already
And
did.
then I seconded, and then we
Yeah.
said this because.
I thought
we-
your discussion was
No.
was not a motion, so that's all right.
So you good?
Yes.
Because I want you to be clear on this.
No, I know, but I thought when we went to discussion, it was just a discussion, but I guess it was a motion, so it's.
That's where amendments are made during discussion period.
No, you actually have to make a motion to
You
make
did.
a.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we're
but
good?
usually you
Are we
say.
good? Should I draw it out?
We're good, Chris.
I can draw it. Okay. All right. So on the motion to amend the original motion, any further discussion?
Yes.
The total, do we need to amend the total?
That will,
There's a
well,
financial piece in there.
yeah, I think the total, we just amend the motion that will, if the amended motion gets brought forward, it's only including the items that are here, so those costs are the only ones that will be
Okay.
allowed. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So on the motion to amend, is there any further discussion? All right, all those in favor on the motion to amend, state by saying aye. Aye, opposed? All right, so now we have an amended motion on the floor to only approve the elementary science pilot, the high school, the high school science AP Cap biology, and the high school science anatomy and physiology. That's what's on the floor. Okay? Okay, now, discussion. I have two citizens who wish to speak in the order. Rachel?
Can I just stand right here?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
All right,
If you could just state your name and
Sure.
address, please.
Rachel Meyer, W145S6975 Brentwood Drive, Muskego. I'm here speaking in support of approving all the textbook and instructional materials recommended by staff for approval. I trust the extensive process taken by teachers and administration to recommend instructional materials. I attended April's meeting as well as tonight's Educational Services Committee meetings. I've had an opportunity to learn about the process for choosing materials and also viewed the materials. Chrissy did an excellent job explaining the process as well as answering questions. Heidi's explanation today of the book selection was also very helpful. I found it particularly helpful learning about how it was chosen by the authors, on how it was written in its perspective. I ask you to trust the process and the teachers and administrators who reviewed and recommended the textbooks and instructional materials and improve all their recommendations.
Thank you. And Ann Zilke.
That'd be me. All right, Ann Zilke, W151S8108, Harvest Court. I had a discussion with many of you similar to what I'm going to say tonight, but I think it's an important piece of the larger discussion of our curriculum moving forward. So I believe as a district we have a duty to teach our kids the messy, often uncomfortable truth about our country. And that includes the inextricable links between race, American culture, history, and law. There's such great beauty in the diversity of American culture, and such great pain in the honest evaluation of the history of race in this country. The consequences of slavery, Jim Crow, housing segregation, lynchings and domestic terrorism, internment, overtly racist citizenship and immigration policies, and the genocide, enslavement, removal, and relocation of indigenous peoples all show through in our current American culture. We have to teach this history in order to discuss the generational trauma experienced by BIPOC communities and the inequities that create in housing, education, criminal justice, policing, wage, wealth, and health. Just because these injustices and disparities might not affect your everyday worldview does not mean that they are not real and devastating. We do not need to protect our children from accurate portrayals of American history. We need anti-racist education in our schools to combat the rampant white supremacy fed to our children. As a district, we need to not only openly and honestly welcome difficult conversations about race, but also unapologetically wrap our arms around every single student, teacher, and staff member who is a member of a protected class. We must stand up and continue to proclaim that every single human being deserves to be treated with respect and love, instead of bombarded by unabashed hate being pushed by some members of our community. Because every single time a community member stands up and rails against diversity, rails against inclusion, or rails against a protected class, you work to actively exclude someone important. My child, her child, a dedicated teacher or staff member. All students and staff deserve to be seen and heard regardless of their gender, race, ethnicity, country of origin, religion, disability, or sexuality. Every child deserves to be included and made to feel wanted and worthy. In order for us to be truly the district of choice, we have to stand up for what is right and recommit to creating a culture of inclusion by rejecting this current attempt to subvert the truth. We must stand by our teachers and district staff in teaching the truth and providing a safe and equitable environment for all.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
And just to be clear, the Educational Services Committee is meeting again on June 13th, and we'll take up the books that were referred, so they'll be back on the agenda. And I will echo your comments, Rachel, about that teacher that last year, that was Heidi Edwards, one of the most respected English teachers that we have. My kids, we were blessed to have our children have her, so I totally agree with you on that. So,
Is there a way to get like some sort of summary report about what's discussed? Because I know we don't take many minutes, right?
no, the committee will have them.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
you'll have them,
Okay, good.
absolutely, yep. Okay, any other, and one thing too, so the reason why the motion comes forward as amended before people are allowed to talk is because they have privilege. If it originates from a committee, it has to be here. You still are allowed to talk on it, but the motion has to come as the committee recommends it. And then the board can certainly do whatever after that, but we bring it forward that way as a point of privilege. So, but thank you for your comments. And June 13th, it's 6 p.m., 1800. So, all right. Any other discussion on the amended motion?
The cost is $38,769.10.
And that's for those three, the top
Those
three?
top.
Okay. So we're good with that? Staff, we're good with that? All right, hearing no other discussion? All those in favor, state by, yes, sorry.
What are we approving right now?
So we are approving the amended motion, which is this, here, I will state
All right,
it.
that's all.
Okay,
And then
then,
we have to still approve it.
yes, that's what I'm gonna, yep,
Okay.
so
I'll make sure,
We only
Good.
I'm with you.
The amendment, the motion to amend.
I'm gonna draw this on the board.
Nope, you don't have to. I just want to make sure we're good.
Okay, so we're good with the top three items and the cost, and staff is good with that direction? All right. We good, Claire?
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. All right, all those in favor of the amended motion which is Mystery Science, Campbell Biology in Focus, and Essentials of Human Anatomy and Physiology, 6-year digital text, 13th edition, 2022. The costs approved are $3,975 plus $14,501 and 65 cents plus 20,292 and 45 cents for a total of
$38,769 dollars and 10 cents.
all those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
So, can I ask you a question?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
When Terry motioned to make the amendment, and then Lori seconded,
Correct.
that was to bring the amendment forward.
That was to, right, right.
We did not have a motion to approve it.
Yeah, we did. No, that was the,
Brett and Terry.
yeah, Brett and.
Brett and Terry did it first,
Yeah.
and then Terry did it.
Yeah, that was the original
And
motion.
Yeah.
then Lori seconded.
Okay.
So I think we're good. All right.
I got you, Bob.
So, resolution action items, 8E, gifts, grants, and bequests.
Walk back in.
It's me again. Oh, Jeremiah. All right.
Same for the
All right, motion to approve with thanks the following donations. Muskego High School cheerleading, Muskego Cheer Booster Club, $1,000 for additional cheer coach for the 2022-23 school year. Muskego High School Robotics, XYMOX Technologies, $2,750. Oil Frederickson Law for $500. Cam Tech Incorporated, $5,000. PPG Matching Funds, $750. Rexnord Industries, $5,000. And for Muskego High School Activities, Ascension Mosh, $4,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Moving on, item 9, discussion items, 2022-23 budget, standing item. I think we're not there yet. Master planning updates, you'll have before you a list of the master planning updates. Any discussion or questions on those? And then you've got the employee handbook changes, which will be coming forward in June. And then remember, July is a very light month for us. It's going to be very quick. That's our break from July to August. So don't expect anything heavy in July.
For this schedule, under the agenda item, master planning,
Yep.
who made that schedule? Was it the construction people or you? Or Jeremiah?
The construction people, make this schedule.
They did, okay.
Any other questions, comments on the discussion items?
The only other comment is that we were planning to have a committee of the whole on June 13th at 5:30, so that will be amended, given that the ESC committee will be meeting at 6. So we'll have a discussion about when that will be. You know, we want your input early on
That'll
in
be
the
in
process,
whole thing,
so.
the master planning.
Yeah.
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 So everyone should be brought up to speed by then on the entire master planning process and what we're encountering now.
And we don't have to look at schedules for school and stuff to start early or any of that. with
Not
this.
yet. Well, as we continue with the planning, if we need a waiver, is what you're talking
Right,
about,
yeah.
from the Department of Public Instruction.
Like our last one.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We would pursue that. If there was any pursue.
There's no time frame on that?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
Anything else? We're good? Yeah, if you have any thoughts on that, make sure you jot them down because June will be a good cow to go over that stuff, okay? And try to get, whatever information we can out ahead of time, so we're kind of prepared, because that'll be a, kind of a loaded month of the cows, ESC, and then board.
So what's the earliest meeting? If we look at like maybe, do you want like an hour, or do you want an hour and a half for that?
Well, usually, I mean, generally, we can always meet again, but we should at least have an hour to go through it.
So we can meet at 5 then? We'll do 5 to 6.
So is that one, how are we determining who those subcommittees are and who's gonna be on them and
Yeah, I'm doing that right
is that?
soon here.
Okay, so
Yep.
that was on the discussion item, so I just wasn't sure when that was happening.
So should we flip the one meeting first and then the cow second and then the regular meeting third?
Oh, because then, yeah, you guys don't need to be here for the ESC.
Yeah, how do we
Are you
feel
okay with that?
about that? Do you want
I'm
the
sorry, I was not.
Well, the ESC would be the early one, the cow would be second, so can the ESC start at like 5?
5 to 6 and then we will
Yeah.
go.
Is that okay? Okay, so then the ESC would start at 5, and then we would start the cow at 6, is that okay?
Yeah.
And I think I'll make it earlier, just so that we can start earlier if you guys complete earlier. Like, if you only take 30 minutes, we can start right away then, but with the other half. Okay, well, we got it, okay,
Is
good.
that good?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Okay. All right, any other comments or?
The reason why I wasn't paying attention, I don't think she's referring to the committees on the agenda. She's looking at the design committees.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
got
the
it,
design
yeah.
phase
Okay,
committee.
we'll
That's
go
what I was
through
like-
that. Yeah, sorry, okay.
That's why I wasn't paying attention.
Moving on, item 10, information follow-up. You have before you the personal information memo of monthly financials, and then under communications and miscellaneous business as authorized by law, I'm just gonna jump back up to the board reorganization. And then, so for the appointment of the business services committee, that's gonna be Mr. Zimmerman, Mr. Hyde, and Mr. Bowman, who will be the chair. And then the educational services committee is Tracy Blair, Laura Contney, and Terry Boyer, who will be the chair. And then for the CISA delegate, I'm gonna ask Tracy Blair if she would continue as that. Thank you for your efforts and long hours on that. And the WASB delegate, so I do have a name here, but are there any volunteers? Not you, Brett.
I mean, I plan on going, so I can be back if it's going on that. But I'm gonna go anyway, so okay. Are you gonna try anything this year?
Hey, are you picking up on the eye contact?
Well, I you just like me or
Oh, okay, I'm picking up on the eye. Okay, so Kevin, are you okay with that?
Sure.
Good. Thank you for volunteering. And the WASB alternate, Lori, thank you for
I
that.
guess I'm volunteering.
So Laura Contney will be the alternate. And those are the appointments. And given we have no other business before this board, a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Almost. It's first and second.